Bills Mafia, what's going on? Bills Mafia, once again, it's your boy Mac Mafia. Back for another episode so we can discuss training camps days 5 and 6 as the pads came on. And like I told you, shit gets real when the pads come on. Nonetheless, Bills Mafia, I want to thank everybody who has not only tuned in but subscribed to the channel and show love. I genuinely appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. For those who haven't, again, check us out. Subscribe. It costs you nothing. The shit is completely free. Free is better than cheap. Listen, just subscribe to your boy and give your boy a chance. Hear what the boy got to say, right? Nonetheless, let's get the business, Bills Mafia. And again, pads came on Wednesday, and boy, did they come on. Like I told you guys before, when the pads come on, shit changes. Shit changes. Ed Oliver, they interviewed him on Wednesday, and one of the things that he said was, when pads come on, it's a reality check for a lot of people, usually for the offense, to be honest with you. And the reason that is because Ed Oliver said a lot of dudes was walking around tempo violated, so to speak, just what I told you guys the other day. Offense has the advantage when the pads ain't on. And why? Because they can sit up there, they do all that running around shit, looking pretty, looking fly, doing all that fly shit, right? But when the pads come on and them boys put hands on you or them boys drill you, that's a different ball game. They kind of put a stop to that shit. So nonetheless, Ed Oliver actually said that. He said a lot of people on the offense was tempo violated. And you already know what that means. They were walking around doing that, like we just said, doing that fly shit, right? But nonetheless, we had some injuries. Bills Mafia, we went from last week looking good to this week, we done ran into some shit. We got some key injuries that took place. We got Ty Johnson. He got drilled second play out the gate by Terrell Bernard. So he's out. You know, he's listed as day-to-day. You know, we got Mike Edwards. That's a big one because obviously that's one of our safeties alongside Cole Bishop, which is another safety. So we hurting in the safety position, people. We had some signings took place in the last 2 days. We'll discuss those later on. But nonetheless, let's talk about our injuries. And again, number one being to Ty Johnson. Second being to Cole Bishop. Third being to Mike Edwards. And the last one being to Chase Claypool. All of them is day-to-day with the exception of Mike Edwards. He's listed week to week. So that fucking hurts because nonetheless, we need him to take reps. He missed over 12 OTA practices due to injury. And now he's missing these training camp days. So that's not good. We need to get him up to speed. Good news story is he's a veteran. He should be able to do that. But nonetheless, we need him to get reps. We need him to learn our defense. Hopefully he's in his playbook. And what he's missing on the field, he ain't missing mentally. And hopefully he's just adapting to everything else, nonetheless. Some notable news that's worth talking about is our boy Gregory Rousseau, who just got his criminology degree from the University of Miami. You guys know he went to University of Miami. He's a Hurricane, and nonetheless, he took some online classes, took his time with it, and he completed his degree. So big shout out to him, because that shit's important. You understand what I'm saying? School first, man, before anything. And if anything, what school shows, even if you don't do that line of work, right? What school shows is, it's like the gym. It shows that you're disciplined enough to start something and finish the shit. So kudos to anybody who went out there, completed their degree, and did what the fuck they had to do, and they being the person that they want to be, right? So shout out to Gregory Rousseau on that. That's a big one to definitely acknowledge. Listen, I expect a biggie out of him. I expect a biggie out of Gregory Rousseau. He's doing his thing in camp. Dude's a freak of nature. He's knocking people in the ass so far. Listen, he put together an 8-sack season in the season in which he missed 5 games. So if Gregory Rousseau is capable of putting an 8-sack season together in a season in which he missed 5 games, listen, he's a lot older now. He's more mature. And he's a little seasoned. And he got experience in the league. And again, like I told you, homeboy's a beast. Dude is 6'7". Dude is a monster. That dude right there is a fucking problem. And again, I expect big things out of him. And I expect him to lead our defense nonetheless. Another thing that's notable talking about, a rule was passed this week in which now the coaches, the head coaches have to speak to the media come halftime. Now they have to speak to the media. Come halftime, that shit sucks. Again, at the end of the day, I want our coaches focused. I want our coaches zeroed in on what the fuck they got to do. I don't want them having to stop and talk to a motherfucker who can really care less, and he's just pretty much just covering the game because that's his game this week. But he really gives two shits about our team, so I'm not a fan of that rule, but who the fuck am I? I don't got a horse in the race. I can't say nothing about that, right? Some sit-outs for training camps and veteran rest days. Day one went to Von Miller, Teron Johnson, and Matt Milano, which is, I'm okay with that, especially when it comes to Matt Milano, because you know he's coming back off an injury. Let that shit heal up, pace him, bring him along nice, so we can have him throughout the duration of the season. Von Miller, same thing with him. From what I heard and from what I've seen, homeboy is going crazy in training camp. He got a step back yesterday, which was training camp day 6. Homeboy was flying all over the field. And that's what we like to see. That's what we like to hear. Because again, I'm going to be honest with you. If we want to make a play, we want to make a run into the playoffs and a deep run into the playoffs into the Super Bowl, we're going to need a motherfucking closer. And Von Miller was brought here so he can close. That's why that's Von Miller's sole purpose in being a motherfucking Buffalo Bill. So he can sit up there, he can close a motherfucking game out. So bring him along, bring him in on obviously passing downs in which he can pin his ears back and hit the quarterback. That's it. Let him look over at Ed Oliver, let him look over at Greg Rousseau, and go in that motherfucking huddle, and that shit, the last words you say in that huddle is, meet you at the quarterback. Break. And go do what the fuck you got paid to do and why you got brought to Buffalo to do it. So Von Miller, I expect big things from him, but nonetheless, they gave him a veteran rest day. Day 1, day 2, again, he was flying over the field and he was doing his thing. As you guys know, as we discussed, pads is on. Things are getting a little more physical out there. Things are getting a lot more physical, especially with the defensive backs, amongst the line, everything. Like I said, like I told you. Now, you starting to see, before last week, the offense was handling the defense they asked across the board. But now you're starting to see the defense kind of level that shit out a little bit. And now you're starting to see a little back and forth in who's winning these exchanges, right? And that's what we actually want to see. Because again, have we gone all through training camp and we're hearing how Josh Allen, which that's what we want, right? How Josh Allen keeps handling the defense they ask, we'll have a problem with that. We're worried about our motherfucking defense. Because again, he should not be able to handle them they ask every fucking single time. So I'm a little happy that things are leveling out. And I look forward to the continue, like I said, them scuffles and shit like that. I love that shit. Why? Because again, it shows that at the end of the day, you hit a play, you're not here to hand me out nothing. And this time of year, I'm going to tell you something right now. This is probably the most important time of year for any NFL player who isn't established. And the reason I say that is because of this. Let me tell you something. You're about 2 weeks into training camp. The motherfucker that's lined up from across from you, I'm a wide receiver, right? That defensive back that's lined up across from me, that D lineman, that O lineman, whatever side of the ball you on, but whatever, the motherfuckers that's directly across from you has seen your every move for the last 2 weeks. And when I say your every move, I mean this. He's seen everything you like to do. Everything you feel comfortable with, to keep it a buck, to keep it honest with you, he's seen everything he's seen the reason why you the fuck in the league. Because again, you've gone to your bread and butter because you're trying to beat that man. So that motherfucker across the line has seen everything or 90% of what you have to offer as a pro football player. And his job is to put a stop to your shit. Therefore, watch this. That motherfucker there, we teammates for the time being, right? But ain't none of us on the roster yet. Again, unless you're an established player in the NFL. But if you're a first-year player, second-year player, shit, or if you here, even as a free agent with no guaranteed money, if you're not established, and most players aren't, unless you're like a fucking Josh Allen, big contract guy, Ed Oliver, unless you're a motherfucker like that, so we know who we talking about, right? I'm not talking about that type of person. I'm talking about the other type of person who isn't established yet and who haven't made their mark in the motherfucking NFL. You got to understand one thing. Again, the motherfucker that you line up across from, has been studying you for the last 2 weeks. He knows your every move. He knows everything. He knows everything you like doing, everything that's gotten you to the motherfucking NFL. And realities and talking facts, his job is to stop you from feeding your motherfucking family off an NFL check. Because if he can stop you, he guarantees that he feeds his family off a motherfucking NFL check. Now, there's a lot of motherfuckers that mentally, they can't handle this phase of the game. Because again, like I said, like I told you, the person across from you, their job and their only job is to stop you from going to the next motherfucking level. Because guess what? If they stop you, they reach the next fucking level. But if they don't, they understand that they're going to go home and they're going to have to go back to their life that they had prior to this whole NFL shit, prior to this whole tryout shit, prior to all of that. Or they're going to have to go back and work for the family business. The family got a fucking masonry business. They're going to have to go back to doing that. They're going to have to be electricians for their dad or their grandfather's company because the motherfucker that lined up for them in front of them for the last 2 weeks took their fucking money. So for as good as it sounds, yo, listen, everybody eats. Yeah, everybody eats. But for the motherfuckers who make the team. So again, this is a very critical part in the NFL. And this is where you see who's really built like that. So again, people's tune in, right? Stay tuned. That's what it should say, right? Stay tuned onto what the fuck is going to happen this next 4 weeks. Because this is the best part of NFL. Because this is where you really see what you got. Listen, let's get back on course. Nonetheless, if you're talking offense, you're talking about players like Josh Allen, who's still lighting up the defense, still doing well, still playing good ball. Right? So we know what we got in him. We know what it is, right? Nonetheless, you got this goes back to what I was saying in reference to the motherfucker that's standing across that line from you, right? We got certain receivers on this team that we know is a lock. You got Keon Coleman, you got Shakir, you have Curtis Samuels, and you can arguably make an argument for Mac making the team, right? Now, you got players like Shavers who's raising hell. He is turning heads. Even Sean McDermott was in the press conference that they said, yo, dude is impressive. Dude is committed to doing the right thing. Sean McDermott had nothing but good things to say about him. So he sat up there and said, this is one of the most consistent players that I've seen. One of the most consistent players that I know. Listen, he sat up there and said, look, if you look at the word consistency, consistency in the dictionary, you'll see a picture of him. So safe to say, Sean McDermott is high on homeboy. Now, Buffalo last year only rostered 5 wide receivers. So now we say, if it's a repeat of last year, and if we saying that 4 is a lock, Mac, Curtis, Keon, and what the fuck was the other one I just said? Mac, Curtis, Keon, and Shakir, right? So those are the lock. Then we're looking at potentially just two spots left. Now those 2 spots need to go between dudes like what we're looking at now. Now we're looking at dudes like MVS, which where the fuck he been at? He's making some splashes. He made some splashes yesterday, right? But to date, he has been nowhere to be found. Motherfucker finally came out the witness protection program yesterday, right? But nonetheless, listen, again, like I told you guys, the last 2 videos, we don't take nothing at face value right now. We take it for what it is, and that is just completely that. So that's what it is, and that's what we take it as. So then if you're looking at only possibly 2 spots left to fill, you got to look at the fact that now what do you do with guys like MVS, like Claypool, like Hamler, like Shorter, like Isabella? What happens to them? So again, I'm going to prepare you guys for something right now. Know one thing. The Buffalo Bills are going to have to cut some good players, as we have in the last few years. Not only are we going to have to cut some good players, not everybody's going to make it and stay on the practice squad before another team comes and takes them, quote unquote, the motherfucking New York Jets. They the number 1 thieves. They sit up there and they look at what the Bills do and they take our fucking players. I know I'm not the only one who's picked that up, right? But know that the Buffalo Bills are going to lose some good-ass players that's probably going to go on other teams and they're going to start, right? So now, know that our offense is doing well, know that our offense is playing well, and know that at the end of the day, we're looking like a team that's going to be able to move the ball and move the ball very well. Some of the drills they worked on at training camp the last 2 days was third and long situations. They've been working on third and long situations. They've been working on, again, a lot of pre-motion snap. And Curtis Samuel is going to be a main piece to this offense. Once again, I'm going to say that again. Like I said before in the last video, not only do I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be the main piece, but I think Curtis Samuel is going to come in a close second place. And reason why, because again, I just think homeboy is very nice. And I think I think in this Joe Brady offense, he's going to excel. Now, there's another position battle that most people ain't talking about. And I'm going to be honest with you. I can see Quentin Morris probably losing his spot to a name. I'm going to say a name. You guys probably ain't familiar with him. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Look him up. And there's been a lot of buzz about him as well. Zach Davidson. Zach Davidson is a stud. He's been turning heads in camp as well. I see homeboy play. I'm like, yo, this kid is really fucking nice. Homeboy, his senior year at Central Missouri, had 40 catches for 894 yards. I repeat, 40 catches for 894 yards and 15 touchdowns. He was an All-American tight end, and he was an All-American punter. Yes, homeboy punts the ball as well. So again, with numbers like that, and I'm going to tell you something. Like I said, homeboy is a ball player. He's a dog. So Quentin Morris, for as much as we like him, that third tight end spot ain't a lock for him. It really isn't. So he got to understand that he can possibly lose his job to motherfucking Quentin Morris. I mean, to Zach Davidson. Because again, like I told you, them numbers pop off the motherfucking charts. And not only do they pop off the charts, but what the boys doing in training camp is phenomenal as well. He's turning heads. So again, listen, look him up. Zach Davidson. If you guys ain't been keeping up with what's going on in training camp and so forth, look up that name and look up that kid. The kid could be a stud, right? He ain't no Dalton Kincaid. He ain't even no Dawson Knox. But again, the kid is good. And again, Quentin Morris is nice too. Boy got hands, right? But nonetheless, let's get into the defense, man. As far as the defense go, listen, I'm gonna run through this because it's pretty much simple. What you about to hear is just players that's been making flashes and who's been getting busy. Like we already went over Von Miller. Von Miller, it's been one practice, right? He sat out the first practice, Veterans Rest Day. His second practice, he got busy. He was handing a lot of people on the offensive line they ass on one-on-ones as well as team drills, right? Von Miller showing splashes. Ed Oliver, that boy Eddie O, again, money well spent, right? He's showing flashes. He's looking good. Gregory Rousseau, as we said before, that kid, I expect big things from him. He's probably been one of the biggest studs on defense to date. Again, he's looking excellent coming off that line. Again, not only in one-on-ones, but in team drills as well. You got Kingsley Jonathan, who's been looking well, showing great upside to him. And last, from what I've seen, Javon Solomon's another one. Who I'm gonna tell you something right now. We can get something out of him. This shit will be phenomenal. I'm gonna tell you something. If at least two of the players that I just mentioned perform slightly well, the Bills can probably have one of the best defensive lines in the league. Yeah, I said it. I don't care what you think. I don't give a fuck. I said it. The Bills can have one of the best defensive lines in the league. And as we know as Bills fans, that's something we need, because if there's one thing that we lack, is we need to be able to apply more pressure to the quarterback. And I'm going to tell you something. We ain't finished that bad last year, believe it or not. For as much as we bitch and complain, we really did not finish that bad. But nonetheless, is an area in which we can get better at. So if we can get two of these guys to turn into studs, I think Gregory Rousseau is definitely going to be one, to be honest with you. I think Ed Oliver is definitely going to shine. I think Von Miller is definitely gonna do his thing again. So now we can just get something out of Javon Solomon and Kingsley Jonathan. Listen, we on this son, right? Nonetheless, listen. The Bills made 2 signings the last 2 days, obviously, as we know, to make up for the safety that we lost. I'm gonna just say this as well in reference to that before I get out of here. I'm gonna go over the 2 signings, then I'm gonna get out of here. Micah Hyde, I hope that you're still working out. I hope that you still got a love for the sport, which I'm sure you do. I'm sure you're doing both, working out as well as love for the sport. And I know we can't get the same Micah that we probably had 5 years ago. But I'm going to say this, right? First and foremost, your health is most important. I care more about that than anything else. So guess what? At the end of the day, if the doctor's saying, so, then guess what? Listen to your fucking doctor. Fuck what Mac Mafia say. Fuck what the Bills Mafia say. And do what's right for you and your family. You don't want to be 50 years old and having problems pushing your kids around, right? So, but if you can play, dogs, please come back. We need you now more than ever, man. And again, I don't think it'll cost a lot of money to bring you back. I think you do right by us, nonetheless, right? But let's get to these 2 signings so I can get out of here, Bills Mafia. First one, they signed Terrell Burgess, who's 25 years old. He's a 2020 third-round draft pick. He was playing for the Washington Commanders last year, in which he played 12 games and had 25 tackles. Again, he's a young blood, 25 years old. Kid is all right? Decent kid. Numbers is okay. Again, right now, I think he is what he is. He's here for a depth piece. Because obviously what we've seen, we got Cole Bishop, somebody who's banking on, and we got Edwards, somebody who's banking on. You know what I'm saying? And they both hurt. So, in the same fucking position. You see how shit work, man? That shit is crazy. But sometimes be like that. Some days you're the dog, some days you're the hydrant, right? And then the second signing was, I'm a little more excited about this one. Not necessarily, maybe he's a little up there in age, to be honest with you. He's 36 years old. That shit sounds crazy, right? He's 36 years old. Has a ton of experience. He came out the 2010 draft class, and that's Kareem Jackson. Again, he's 36, drafted by the Houston Texans, played for the Denver Broncos, but most importantly, this is where I'm most interested in him. He had 193 career starts. And for anything, like I said in our Twitter, there's no play that this man hasn't seen. So if he can help that safety room in understanding the sport better and just understanding pre-snap reads and stuff like that, then that man serves a value to us and we can use him. Right? And I believe in Sean McDermott, and I believe in the Bills in getting these safeties up to speed on where they need to be, where they can at least hold it down and bend, not break, until we get back our guys. So, Bills Mafia, that's it, man. I just wanted to cover that. Again, McDermott, if you're listening, I believe in you, and I believe in what you can do for our team and getting our safeties up to speed until the guys who were originally supposed to get us there. Nonetheless, all right? So, Bills Mafia, I'm out of here. Listen, I'll be covering the rest of the week with you guys. Hope you guys had a great first few days of the week. Tomorrow's technically Thursday. And that's it. Expect the light practice tomorrow. Don't expect nothing heavy because they got the blue and red game on Friday. So they may not even be in pass tomorrow, to be honest with you. They may just run through that shit. Nonetheless, all right? Bills Mafia, I'm out of here. Listen, I love you. I appreciate you. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing. You know what I say. It's fucking free. And free is better than cheap. So again, Bills Mafia, if you haven't done so, please do so. I love you. I appreciate you. Drink your water. Eat your veggies. And when it comes to our drink your water. Eat your veggies. And when it comes to our motherfucking Buffalo Bills, mind your business. Let's go Buffalo.